I would like to announce that a quorum is present. The meeting is duly called, and a notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. The following board members are in attendance: Dr. Buddy Botter, Allison Lasan, Catherine Sells, Sheila Taylor, Michelle Alcateb, Dr. Stacy Barker, and Jenny Prosnick. We will now convene into closed session as authorized by Texas Government Code Section 551, specifically 551.071, 072, 074, and 089. The time is 6 p.m. We will now reconvene into open session. The time is 7:05. Two fifth-grade students from Bluebonnet Elementary School will now lead us in our pledges. Emma Gonzalez and Prunov Reddy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Stay right there. Emma and Prunov move to the center for his picture with Dr. Rapp while I tell everybody else a little bit about y'all. Some fun facts about Emma. Emma enjoys playing softball, camping, and spending time with her friends and family. When she grows up, Emma's going to be busy. She wants to play professional softball, play softball for Team USA, be a Marine Corps fighter pilot, and a lawyer.
Yeah. You can do it all.
Goodness. Emma's favorite teacher is her fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Bosch. Miss Bosch made Emma feel super smart, safe, and loved at her new school, Bluebonnet, last year. Here are some fun facts about Prunov. Prunov enjoys coding, building, and drawing. When asked what he wanted to be when he grew up, Prunov said he wanted to be an engineer or a game designer. We have a program for you. Prunov's favorite teacher is also his fourth grade teacher, Ms. Hare, because she had lots of fun activities for his fourth grade class to do. If there are parents here, could you stand so we could recognize you? Time for pictures. Welcome to all of you. The Lewisville ISD Board of Trustees meets monthly to receive reports from staff and take action on recommendations from the superintendent. The board receives the agenda and all supporting documentation 10 days in advance of these regular meetings, which allows us to ask and receive answers to many of our questions. The board also meets in regularly scheduled workshops, work sessions where staff discussions and presentations are given for many of the agenda items. This protocol means lengthy discussion or litany of questions on every agenda item often is not necessary. And as a board, we should have appropriate knowledge and preparation for responses regarding the content of our meeting tonight. First up, we have an action item to consider the naming of the Lewisville High School Fieldhouse, the Ronnie Gage Fieldhouse. Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Madam President. Coach Ronnie Gage was Lewisville High School football's beloved head coach from 1991 to 2004. He served as LISD athletic director from 2005 through 2009. Coach Gage is also a published author and is one of the 100 most successful coaches in Texas. Coach Gage has been lauded as a mentor, a shining star of the community, and a remarkable human being. The Facility Naming Committee is proud to recommend that the Lewisville High School Fieldhouse be named after Coach Ronnie Gage. It will be named the Ronnie Gage Fieldhouse.
Would someone like to make a motion? Ms. Lasan.
I move that the board approve naming the Lewisville High School Fieldhouse the Ronnie Gage Fieldhouse.
Second, Dr. Bonner. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Congratulations. Could you all come on up so we can get a photo? And yeah, we're going to come up there. Could you all in the maroon please join us at the dais so we can get a photo to commemorate this?
the outfits.
You're gonna have as many wardrobe changes as Usher?
No, I'm putting on that.
You put on.
Next up, we have considered naming the Marcus High School track the Steve Telenas track at Marauder Stadium. Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Madam President. Longtime Marcus cross-country and track coach Stephen Edward Telanius was lauded as an incredible mentor and a beloved figure in the LISD community. His accomplishments on the field included 16 straight boys district championships and 10 girls district championships. His track and field teams combined for 16 district titles. Coach Telanius recorded 20 individual regional championships, 16 state medalists, and 3 state championships. The facility naming committee is proud to recommend that the Marcus High School track be named after Coach Stephen Edward Telanius. It would be named the Steve Telanius track at Marauder Stadium.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Would someone like to make a motion? Ms. Sells.
Madam President, I move that the board approve naming the Marcus High School track the Steve Telanius track at Marauder Stadium.
Second. Dr. Barker? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Congratulations. Next on the agenda, we're here to recognize some very special people. Each February, Lewisville ISD celebrates Go Red Month, a campaign started by the American Heart Association to emphasize the importance of heart health. This Go Red Month is extra special, as we have the privilege of recognizing 2 of our school nurses who performed cardiac rescues on the same day. Brenda Gonzalez, the school nurse at Lakeland Elementary, and Mary Ashmore, the school nurse at Downing Middle School. Join us here tonight because of their heroic actions on January 4th. That morning, Brenda jumped into action when a fellow staff member was experiencing a cardiac emergency. She single-handedly performed full CPR and AED rescue, achieving a successful outcome. At Downing Middle School, Mary Ashmore read the email regarding Brenda's rescue and sent her a congratulatory email. But just 3 hours later, Mary was performing a CPR rescue of her own. Mary's quick assessment and action saved a second life in LISD that day. We are beyond proud to call these 2 individuals part of the LISD family. Brenda and her husband Hector are the proud parents of 2 LISD students, Eduardo, a freshman at Marcus High School, and Natalia, a 4th grader at Parkway Elementary. Mary and her husband Todd have 4 adult children, Chris, Megan, Madeline, and Lane, who all attended LISD schools and graduated from Marcus High School. I'm grateful to be able to say that also joining us tonight is Clinton Flanagan, the staff member who Brenda saved at Lakeland Elementary. We are grateful for Clinton's quick recovery and appreciate him and his family being here tonight as we honor Brenda and Mary's heroic actions. At this time, we'd like to invite all families on stage. Do you not want me to do this first? Okay. Hold, pause while we go for photos. Don't leave yet. The American Heart Association is here to present Brenda and Mary an award for their heroic actions. Please welcome Cameron Waldo, Kelly Story, and Rebecca Garcia from the American Heart Association to present their award. I know we have a lot of nurses in the house. Would you all like to join us on the dais for one giant photo as well, please? And now Communications will share with us this month other recognitions and student highlights.
This school year, 42 Lewisville ISD schools received the Counselors Reinforcing Excellence for Students in Texas Award, which is an honor recognizing outstanding model counseling programs in Texas. LISD's 2023 Crest Award winners are B.B. Owen, Castle Hills, Creek Valley, DeGan, DeLay, Etheridge, Forestwood, Griffin, Harmon, Hebron 9, Hebron Valley, Hedrick, Lewisville, McAuliffe, Memorial, Holzer, Shadow Ridge, South Ridge, and the Student Success Center. The Crest Leadership Award is presented to schools that achieve the Crest Award for 3 or more consecutive years. LISD's 2023 Crest Leadership Award winners are Briar Hill, Downing, Flower Mound High School, Garden Ridge, Hebron High School, Heritage, Killian, Kilo, Liberty, Marcus 9, Marcus High School, McCamey, the Colony High School, Vickery, and Wellington. The Crest Advocacy Award is presented to campuses with 3 or more consecutive Crest Awards that also showcase dedication through counselor advocacy at the state capitol or presenting at state conferences. LISD's 2023 Crest Advocacy Award winners are Homestead, Independence, Indian Creek, Lamar, Lewisville High School, Morningside, Peters Colony, and Timber Creek. School counselors play a multifaceted role in counseling students to fully develop their academic, career, personal, and social abilities. Their responsibilities encompass preparing students for success in and out of the classroom, ensuring that all students are confident and equipped with the knowledge and skills to thrive and adapt for their future. Congratulations to these excellent counseling programs. Lewisville ISD appreciates all that you do for our students, families, and community.
They spend tireless hours applying for this award to showcase all of the hard work that they put into their jobs every single day, and I could not be more proud of all of them. In the last 7 years, we have jumped from 7 winners to 42 winners this year, and continue to lead the pack in the state of Texas with this award. So thank you and congratulations.
So this is elementary. Yes.
So this is our elementary group, so we will get a photo with them. Okay, if we can have middle school, come on up. Oh, there it is. Come on up. Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Good to see y'all. Congratulations. Hello, hello. Hi. Hello.
It's your MC Hammer dance. Today, Dave said, I'll give you $1,000 to do the MC Hammer dance across the stage at lunch.
Agreed.
Well, I need to watch some YouTube first, but
Okay, that side. Yep, go that. Yep. Yep. Hi, Johnny. And finally, our high school group. Hello, everybody. Hi.
I met your daughter last
She'll boss you. Right here. Where we go? I don't know. I got right on that rope. Right, there you go. All right.
Congratulations. We also, while we're meeting tonight, Flower Mound and Hebron Girls basketball teams are playing, and we wanted to wish them good luck in their by-district playoff games tonight. Ms. Taylor will now present this month's Recognize Someone.
Thank you, Madam President. A parent shared about Mrs. Marilyn, a bus rider, that shares Memorial Elementary School. Mrs. Maryland greets every single child with their name when they get on and off the bus. She never yells or gets impatient with the children. She is so sweet and so kind with each child. She makes them feel extremely loved, which is so important because this is how they start and end their school day every single day. We love Mrs. Maryland so much and are so very grateful for her. Wish there were more people out there like her. She personalizes her bus and gives them treats on Fridays. She's the best. The next one is a parent sharing about Mrs. Ashmore at Downing Middle School. My son was recently hospitalized for a week and received a type 1 diabetes diagnosis. I was so afraid of his return to school until I met Nurse Mary Ashmore. She canceled a personal day to ensure she was the one to greet him on his first day back. She contacts us all day long to communicate his numbers and reassure us that he is doing well. She offers advice, listens to our worries, and helps us problem solve. She truly has the heart of an educator. She has been the biggest blessing to us. Thank you, Mary.
Next up is our superintendent update, Dr. Rapp.
Thank you, Madam President, Board. A quick rundown of some important things that have happened since we last met. We had a wonderful celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. in January, and I appreciate you being at that. We've got wonderful, not only pictures from that, but stories, and we're proud to partner with MLK of North Texas on that very special event. And of course, that was our 31st annual of that event. The student work is very impressive that they put together to honor the life and legacy of Martin Luther King. And then, as we all recognized just a few minutes ago, this is Go Red month for Heart Month, and so we kicked that off. We've been celebrating that since 2011, and wellness of our staff is important to us and our students, of course. And so to encourage heart health with our staff, we're providing them blood pressure screenings, body mass index monitoring, heart challenges, and other educational information. Our nurses and our wonderful Melanie Vincelette, who's still back there filming, have been teaching hands-only CPR as we want to support the American Heart Association in becoming a nation of lifesavers and equipping people to save lives with CPR throughout the month of February. I've been very thankful since I last saw you all, as you all know, to continue to meet with my elementary and middle school student advisory kids. And this time around, I asked them for changes and or improvements in their student experience and input on some of our student survey questions as we continue to want to know that our student survey is making sense and resonating with kids. At middle school, we took feedback about advisory lessons, and all those counselors and programs that we just celebrated have been an important part of taking our feedback about advisory and really working to make that middle school advisory experience as meaningful for our students as possible. We're looking forward to a great HBCU fair later this week with Alexis Miller pulling that together, and many of you, along with myself, were in classrooms celebrating World Read Aloud Day, reading books to our kids. Then with our connection with families, we've got upcoming meetings for Key Communicators Year 1. We'll be talking about the state accountability system. We'll be talking about budget and bonds. And then our Key Communicators Year 2, we're continuing to work on advocacy and getting their feedback for all of you as it's already time to develop your legislative priorities. And then connection with staff, we have already, as we talked about at the work session, wheels in motion on the 2023 bond with staff devices. You all mentioned about the words of encouragement from staff at your work session on replacing their laptops. We had bus driver appreciation last month. I've met with teacher association, our teacher association reps as well to get their feedback. I see Ms. Eckley out there in the audience. She meets with me regularly. And then I've gotten back to my regular schedule of lunches with Lori to be out with staff and hearing them. And then we'll have brand ambassadors Year 1 and Year 2 coming up.
We're looking forward to our 13th annual Chin Festival on Thursday, February 15th at LHS's Stuver Auditorium. And there is your most recent updates on my January staff newsletter clicks as we monitor our communication to families and staff. And I always close with, if you can, please recognize someone and share celebration and thanks with our staff that are working so very hard. And that is my update for this month.
Thank you, Dr. Rapp. Public comments are next on the agenda. Those who wish to speak at a board meeting often expect a dialogue with the Board of Trustees. However, in accordance with Texas law, the board is not able to respond directly to comments or questions posed by speakers. Texas law also does not allow the board to discuss or take action on any issue presented during the public forum unless the item has already been posted for action on the meeting agenda. Each speaker will receive a written follow-up from the district in the next 3 business days. The board and the district administration welcomes and values the feedback shared during this time of the meeting, and we are grateful for the continued partnership between LISD and the families and the communities we serve. First up is Lewisville ISD stakeholders. Lewisville ISD stakeholders, meaning current students, parents, employees, residents of Lewisville ISD, will have up to 3 minutes for their presentation. We have one speaker tonight, Ms. Kelsey Blount. Ms. Blount, podium.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. So my name is Kelsey Blount, and I am a current Lewisville resident and an LISD alum. Since graduating in 2012, I've worked in the field of social work as well as student ministry, and through both of those experiences, I've gotten to encounter several students and teachers from LISD that I've seen firsthand the impact that they've had on the families that they have served. And so I just am here to thank you guys. Thank you guys for pouring into the next generation and loving them so well. Y'all give these students a safe place to learn and to grow, and you empower them to believe in themselves, and you are a constant in the chaos. LISD has helped shape me into the mother, wife, and professional I am today. I now have 2 children with my high school sweetheart, who I look forward to becoming a part of the LISD family. I know that the days that you guys have can be long and y'all can face many trials, but I'm just here to say that your work is worth it, and it means something not only for the students and families that you serve, but for this community and for my family. So thank you guys for devoting your lives to this. Y'all are seen and known more than you know. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is a public hearing on the Texas Academic Performance Report for 2022-23. We will now conduct a public hearing on the Texas Academic Performance Report. Dr. Fitzhugh.
Good evening. I was making sure my clicker was on. Sorry, that was a little delay reaction there. Good evening. Tonight we're going to go over the annual report that TEA compiles that has a lot of our different data sources in it. This is how TEA defines the Texas Academic Performance Report. Annually we come before you and give you a highlight of some of the data pieces, but the report has a lot more data for those who would like to go to the website, or it's also on our website as well to see the additional data pieces. Generally, the academic ratings are in this report, but at this time there are no academic ratings due to pending pending litigation, and so that part of the presentation is not here this evening. So we're going to start off with one of the big highlights that we always look forward to, and it's our graduation rate. LISD takes a lot of pride in our graduation rate. It's our ultimate accomplishment. It's the biggest piece that we're working towards with students, is making sure they can successfully complete their academic career. And what you will see in our data is that 96.4% of our students graduated from the class of 2022. That is higher than all of the regions that we work with, as well as the state. In addition, we've pulled out some of the different student groups. Our English learner group is at 89%, which is a lot higher than the state. Special ed is at 92.3, and economically disadvantaged is at 92.4. While these took a little bit of a dip from the class of 2021, they still are very high performing, and we're continuing to monitor to make sure we can keep that number where it is. It's important to note that this is a graduating class that was impacted some by COVID as well, and so we're monitoring that. Our annual dropout rate, again, our dropout rate is much lower than the state. It's one of the pieces that we monitor, and we really work hard to try to get students back in when we notice that they are no longer attending. We're at 1%. The state is at 2.2%. We're pretty steady with that. We're seeing a little bit of increase in some of the different student groups, so we're working with different departments to try to see how we can reclaim some of those students and capture them before their graduation date arrives. College, career, and military ready graduates, this is a state definition for CCMR. College ready looks at a lot of the standardized testing, ACT, SAT, an AP score of 3 or higher, some dual credit in there. So that's how you define college ready. Your career ready is a CTE certification right now. And the military ready means you actually have enlisted and come back and turn the paperwork in. This is one of the areas that we are working very closely with counseling and with learning and teaching, because we're noticing that we're not having as many students graduate CCMR as we have in the past, and that other districts, we're starting to see a little bit more increase in the state compared to what our numbers are. There are some different reasons for that in terms of definitions changing in different certifications. We're still at 65.8% overall, 54% for college ready, which is higher than the state. But we have lots of different activities in this area trying to look at that definition and how we're making sure we're meeting students' needs. We will also say on this area here, the state has a pretty limited definition of CCMR. We tend to look at other measures as well to make sure students were meeting their individual needs and not trying to force them into a state path. And so those are some different pieces that we're trying to see how that's impacting our data. When it comes to CCMR, the other pieces that we kind of have to keep in mind is that the dual credit classes cost money for our students. There are several surrounding districts where those classes are provided for them, and so there's an impact there. The state is changing some of those career-ready certifications. Right now, Microsoft Office has been accepted. It will no longer be accepted, and so I think we're going to start to see some state numbers change as well as that certification is removed. The state is rolling up they're kind of working in a process where students must complete a pathway and a certification moving forward. And so I think we're going to see an impact to some of the numbers with that as well. So we're closely monitoring how all of those pieces are impacting our CCMR numbers. When it comes to our graduates moving on to higher education, this data is very lagging because you have to wait for colleges and for students to complete a year. But if they're graduates from 2020, 2021, 46.9% of our students enrolled in higher ed in Texas. That is right in line with the state and it's a little higher than the region. We also participate in something called the National Student Clearinghouse, which looks at nationwide different enrollments. And what you see is that an additional 20% of LISD students from the class of 21 enrolled outside of the state. And so that kind of puts us around the 60, I think that's 66%, 67%. 91% of the students who enrolled from the class of 2021 returned for a second year of college, so they stayed with it. So that's a very high number for us. Additionally, this is not in the TAPR, but it's just another data source we look at when it comes to our different levels of students. Our iStation data, which tells us how students are reading and if they're making progress, all of our grade levels are in the 90%. A very healthy number of our students are growing in reading or maintaining that grade level reading. And then Ms. Cobb.
Good evening. I'd like to talk to you tonight about just our teacher years of experience and how that's changed over the last 10 years. The items in blue are the current 22-23 school year information that we have from the taper, and then the orange is in the year 13-14. You'll see this. There are some slight changes. Historically, our teachers have, the majority of our teachers range anywhere from 6 to 20 years of experience. We're seeing those trends decrease a little bit, and we're hiring, and our teaching force are the beginning year teachers from 0 to 5, and then those with 20 years of experience or more. That 20-year range is quite broad. It can be 20, upwards to 40. I don't have a clicker, Sarah. Can you click? Thank you. And then just some information about the turnover rates. Our turnover rate has increased. For 22-23, we were at 18.5%, but the state turnover rate increased as well to 21.4. We are still well below the state average. We do maintain that we're in the top 25% of our market group, and that equates to we still have a lower retention rate among our peers in our market group. And then just digging into that data a little bit, 21.4% of our data can be attributed to retirement. Of that number, if we took out the retirements, our turnover rate would be 15.2%. Another piece of information that's important when looking at that data are long-term subs. When long-term subs are in those positions, they're considered the teacher of record, and they are included in our turnover rate. Some of the things we've been seeing with staffing shortages, filling of positions, could be attributed to this as well. Like I said, in 20 and 21, our turnover rate was not in the lowest 25%. And we've been in the lowest 25% over the last 2 years and compared to our market group. We do continue to focus in our long-range plan and then on teacher retention by evaluating data. We've recently started working on a more in-depth exit survey, resignation data, as well as staff surveys, and then conversations.
And the financial information that's included in the TAPER report for this year is for the 2021-2022 fiscal year. So this first slide, we'll take a look at actual operating revenue for all funds. And I want to highlight that the bulk of the revenue is received from local property taxes. So for that year, that made up almost 74% of our operating revenue. And then I also wanted to highlight the two numbers, or the chart that's circled there. You'll see that all fund revenue, excluding debt service and revenue loss to recapture, for the district was $10,575. Compare that to the state average of $12,504. So you'll see that the district received, on average, $1,929 per student less than the state average. If you were to multiply that out by the number of students that we had in membership for that year, which was 49,113, that would be a funding deficit compared to the state average of $94.7 million. And on the expenditure side, once again, this is operating expenditures for all funds. Payroll makes up the majority of the spending, and so that was about 81%. Professional and contracted services was 11%, supplies and materials 6%, and other operating expenditures 2%. So once again, take a look at the comparison between the total all-fund operating expenditures of $11,267 for the district in comparison to the state average of $11,944. So on average, the district spent $677 less per student for 2021-22.
And that concludes the data we're presenting tonight as part of the TAPR public hearing. Additional information can be found on our webpage as well as on TEA's webpage.
The public hearing on the Texas Academic Performance Report is now open. If there are any persons present who would like to speak to this topic, please come forward at this time. If there are no speakers, I declare this public hearing closed. Next on the agenda is the consent. Are there any items to be pulled, or would someone like to make a motion? Ms. Taylor.
Madam President, I move that the board approve the consent agenda items as recommended by administration.
Do I have a second? Dr. Bonner? All those in favor? It's unanimous, 7-0. Next up are information items. First up is Gifted and Talented Annual Update. Ms. Gall.
Thank you, Madam President. Dr. Rapp, members of the board, I'd love to welcome up Kobe Stringer and Tammy Williams, two of our wonderful district leaders who oversee Gifted and Talented and will be providing tonight's update for you.
Is an LISD. All right, so we follow Texas Education Code and board policy as it relates to serving gifted and talented students. This is the TEA definition of GT students. LISD identifies and serves students based on intellectual and academic abilities. While we don't currently place students based on creative, artistic, or leadership abilities, LISD students do have opportunities to excel in those areas outside of the GT program. We currently are serving 5,719 GT students.
In the GT Services Department, we continue to focus on quality curriculum development, equitable identification, professional learning, and family and community engagement. At the elementary level, we've been working to align vertical standards of thinking in the specialized curriculum we offer 2nd through 5th grade identified students. We continue to develop push-in lessons that foster critical thinking in all K-2 classrooms. And additionally, we're working to increase enrichment support within the general education curriculum.
At the secondary level, we are updating our Learning Enrichment Academic Program, known as LEAP, to refresh it and identify it as the primary service with a strong connection to our vision and mission. LEAP brings together identified, diverse, middle school gifted and talented students and provides them with opportunities to explore their unique passions, increase self-efficacy, and take ownership of their individual learning journeys. We are also working to provide differentiation strategies as part of the core content curriculum documents. We continue to respond to qualification data with special emphasis on these 4 demographics: ethnicity, specifically Hispanic and African American, economic disadvantaged, English language learners, and special education. The data analysis we've used to guide our work now includes the use of the TEA Representation Index. The TEA Representation Index is the minimum amount any subpopulation should represent in a gifted program. It should be at least 80% of the proportional representation of each population, and a representation index much greater than 100% would indicate a very well represented population.
Over the last few years at the elementary level, we've incorporated the use of universal assessments to identify students who may need GT services. Initially, the nonverbal assessment was the primary means of identifying students who met criteria for placement considerations. But now we're administering 3 ability tests to all second grade students in the district. We've got some lessons that we've learned over time. One of those is that more students taking all 3 tests is the best approach in finding students for potential placement. Also, that fall testing allows more opportunities for additional assessments as needed. We'd like to share the universal assessment impact we're noticing with current 3rd graders in LISD as a result of these 2nd grade assessments. The representation index is noted in yellow for K-12 students. That data represents a large population of students who were placed prior to the use of universal assessments. You'll notice significant gains in all 4 demographics in 3rd grade that we partly attribute to administering all 3 universal assessments in grade 2. When you look at the last 2 calendar years, you'll notice significant gains in student qualification in all demographic areas.
We continue to offer training for teachers and administrators focused on the identification and needs of gifted learners. From the summer to the fall of 2023, teachers and staff completed 6,192 hours of GT training. And we have in LISD 847 staff members who have met the TEA foundational training requirements. Family and community engagement remains a priority. We would like to draw attention to 2 new ways we've tried to foster engagement. We hosted an online parent event for parents of rising 6th graders. The focus of the event was to discuss the transition of GT services from elementary to secondary. It was attended by 264 parents. We are also planning to gather feedback on services through the end-of-year parent survey. Are there any questions or comments?
Dr. Barker? I just want to say I really appreciate the use of a screener model for identification. I think a large part of the discrepancies we've seen in the past have been through this nomination sort of model that has occurred in the past. So I just commend you for making that shift, and the data pans out. So great job.
Dr. Bonner.
Yeah, I would echo Dr. Barker's thoughts on the increase at the lower grades, and that pool matriculate up just like the K-12 showing there would as well. I wonder if moving forward, if we could see this, because I want to ensure that anybody out there looking at this doesn't think a cynical thought, and that is, oh, well, I see what's going on here. We're just fluffing these numbers up, right? Someone might think that. I don't, and I don't think anybody on this board does, but I think to show the rigor, could we see maybe kids that had taken the screener but in the end didn't quite make it? In other words, the whole pool of kids that were assessed, how many made it and how many did not? Would that be possible?
We could get you that information.
Yeah, don't have to for this. I'm just thinking that might be another good piece of data for any future presentations. But hats off on the increased enrollment in the younger grades in those sub-pops.
I appreciate the parent engagement. I know that was the piece that you all talked about a great deal last year. It's good to see that there's been some reciprocation on their part. Ms. Sells?
Can I just, is it in our internet where this is broken down by school or feeder pattern or?
It's not there. We can definitely work on following up.
Okay. I would appreciate it. I think that the rest of the board would also. Thank you.
Sounds like you got some GT work to do.
Well, and for clarification, when you say broken down by campus, are you saying for third grade for the results of that screener, or are you saying K-12 data overall?
K-12 data overall.
Thank you all so very much. Next up is a Proclamation 2024. IMTA for Science K through 12 and CTE. Ms. Gall.
Thank you very much. Renee Martz, Elementary Science Administrator, and Jennifer Beimer, Secondary Science Administrator, are here tonight, along with others from the Learning and Teaching team, because the instructional materials and technology allotment process is now going on for both science and CTE. And we want to build some background knowledge just to make sure we don't leave out any pieces historically. Just as a reminder that these funds are appropriated through legislative sessions and the commissioner on a biennium basis. They come to us September 1st of every odd-numbered year, and these funds can be used for a variety of purchases, such as the instructional materials, technological equipment, related software systems, as well as salaries for specific technical support employees. So in the previous biennium, we had a significant decrease in the amount of funds that we received. And we also had some gap years where adoptions expired and there were not proclamations specifically to address that. So we had to make some decisions last year because we were not able to fully fund some of those areas that we received. We received reduced amounts of funding. So we have areas such as elementary and secondary social studies, high school math, world languages, and fine arts where we had to make some prioritization, and some decisions were made in which we could not fund all of those. So I say that to build up to the current biennium, where we received $8.5 million. And with no increase to the basic allotment in the most recent legislative session, we did move some salary expenses to come out of that budget, as shared with you previously. So we will be working with a smaller biennium budget when it comes to this proclamation, and we are considering that as we move forward with Proclamation 24. Of note from the 88th legislative session is the fact that this will be the last proclamation that it's being done in the historical manner in which it's been previously. That will result in some uncertainty when it comes to timeline for materials and adoptions, because they will now fall outside of a dedicated cycle. This will be the last cycle specifically that will be launched. With that occurring, future materials are going to be submitted through a process to the State Board of Education for consideration and compliance to those new legislative requirements we discussed previously this year about parent portals and items that will now be required for vendors to submit when we preview as we move forward. For this proclamation, this one specifically, as I stated, is addressing K-5 science, 612 science, and then several CTE courses that Mr. Cooper will be working with teachers to preview. So it addressed the fact that we need to consider the new TEKS for grades K through 12 that are being implemented in the 24-25 school year and revised in new CTE courses. And the last time that we had science materials adopted, that was in 2014. So we are noticing that there is more flexibility in these materials that we're starting to preview, and we want to just go over the timeline and the next steps. We will eventually bring to you a discussion item and then an action item once decisions are made with the teams that are working on this. Since the balance of the IMTA funds will not allow us to be able to purchase both science and CTE, we are going to have to consider how to fund science out of this IMTA funding, and then CTE will have to look at other funding such as the CTE allotment or even Perkins. I will let these ladies discuss the committees and the timelines.
Awesome, thank you. So one very important part of this process is bringing our teachers in to review our resources. So that's what we have done so far in this process. We utilize the teacher review teams for obtaining maximum amount of input on the instructional materials. The following science teacher review teams have been created. We had 41 members for grades K through 5. And then the grades 6 through 12 included 76 members, but some of those members are CTE teachers. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our timeline, where we've been and where we are currently, and then Renee will give us kind of our next steps. So in December and January, we pulled those teacher committees together where we did some learning around our revised science TEKS and also created a rubric that was very specific to our needs here in LISD. This month, we're here with you for this information item. We're also going to provide teachers, all science teachers, the opportunity to review and give feedback. This is outside of the Instructional Materials Committee. So they are able to look at the materials online and give feedback. We're providing online and in-person review opportunities for parents and community members. We have a review window open for families to look at them digitally and provide feedback. We also have an in-person community review tomorrow. It's from 8 to 6. We did have a room change. It's at the Welcome Center, the Jaguars room. We had a room conflict. So once all of this is done, we get our community and parent feedback, the all science teacher feedback, and then the instructional materials committees will come together at the end of this month and review that feedback.
Yep. Oh, sorry. So our next action items will be able to bring all of that data back together and kind of consolidate that from all of our stakeholders to be able to present that to you guys and have that as a school board discussion item so that in April we can seek school board approval and consent. And then that would give us a timeline of May to June to be able to order materials for use in August of 2024 if it's approved and funding is available, and then be able to provide some professional learning to our teachers to be able to support them in the success of being able to implement the new TEKS along with the new instructional materials as well for implementation in August of 2024. Any questions?
And as you know, those purchases are assisted by Catherine Ray, who does a fantastic job for us with the instructional materials allotment. We welcome any questions if you have any.
Dr. Barker.
It's not a question. Fabulous job. Well done. It's more of a comment, and it has to do with the fact that we're going to continue to hear these conversations around choices that we have to make within the district because of the lack of funding provided by the state. So we made a choice to move money from one line item so that we could pay our teachers. right? Am I correct in that?
Those that qualify to be paid out of this allotment specifically are working around instructional technology as required by TEA, but yes, we had to move some salaries for that purpose, absolutely.
Right. And so now we have to make additional choices around what resources we can provide to teachers because we had to make that choice to pay our teachers. So all of this continues to trickle into these what some people might consider minor decisions, but to a teacher in front of a science classroom or in front of a CTE classroom is huge, right? Yes, I want to get paid, but I also want to have the materials that I need to teach my students. So I need the community to understand that we had to make a choice. And those are the same kinds of choices that we're going to continue to have to make. So thank you for doing the hard work of getting that feedback from the teachers so we can make the best choice possible.
Thank you both so very much. Next up, the monthly technology report. Mr. Colbeck.
Thank you, Madam President. In Board Book, you have the monthly technology report, which ends December 31st. And on page 1, you're going to notice we have about $7.1 million remaining in the 2017 bond funds. At some point, we'll be updating this graphic to include 2023 funds in there as well. If you look at our I-fee, we are still out. We still have more revenue that has come in this year than our expenses. I would expect that to change as the year wraps up. On the device side, I will note, you'll notice in red the average age of our teacher devices. That's kind of our warning signal is over 5 years, 4 months old. As this report gets into January, February, March, those numbers should come down as we replace the staff MacBooks. On page 2 of the report, you'll see that our opt-in numbers continue to stay very high. In grades 4 through 12, we're averaging over 98% of students enrolled are opting into our 1-to-X program. And again, our devices on campus are getting really close to that 88% mark. And also to point out, again, as we look at our categorical use of technology, out of all of our bandwidth usage, we're using about 86% of that bandwidth towards the education category. You also notice that average monthly bandwidth, it's tracking slightly lower than 2023. 2022-23 school year, we've had some conversations within our team on that. We're thinking too, as we're one more year removed from COVID, some of the other resources that we were using, we're not super shocked by that, but it's staying pretty consistent across the board. So with that, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Are there any questions? Thank you very much, Mr. Colbeck.
Thank you.
Moving on to discussion items, the monthly financial report, including the bond report, land sale report, and the monthly investment summary. Mr. Rare.
Thank you. The monthly financial reports begin on page 165 of your Ward Book, and these are for the month ended December 31st, 2023. So on the first one, the general fund revenue, the revenue is 41% of the budget through December. The majority of that is in our local revenue. 96% of our local revenue and 76% of our total revenue through December was property tax receipts of almost $175 million. Through December, our general fund expenditures were at 32% of our budget. And then you'll see at the bottom of the schedule the expenditures by object and how those are tracking. On page 166 is the Child Nutrition Fund, 240. Child nutrition revenue is at 34% through December. Our expenditures are at 21%. And I did want to highlight on the capital outlay, we had $79,000 spent through December, but since December, Child Nutrition has spent an additional $400,000 of its spend down plan. On the debt service fund, revenues were at 46%, and that's predominantly our property tax collections. You'll see very little on the expenditure side because that is debt payments are made in February and August of each year. In fact, we have almost $24 million that will be paid this week. And then I wanted to highlight on page 168 is the 2017 bond summary report. And just wanted to bring to your attention that you'll also, in addition to seeing the 2017 bond summary in the upcoming months, you'll also see the 2023 bond as projects begin. And then the last item is on page 171, the monthly investment report. Wanted to highlight the interest that had been received in December of just under $1.5 million. And you'll see a pretty significant increase from our November ending value to our December ending value, which is due to property tax collections during December.
Are there any questions? Thank you very much, Mr. Rare. Next up is budget resolution. Dr. Rapp.
Madam President, members of the board, we discussed at length at the work session last week the lack of action from the 88th legislative session in increasing the basic allotment. And I shared with you all how we were looking at the representation of the per student funding from the TEA annual report, and we will be providing that information to our elected officials. For your just discussion this evening is a resolution that puts together some important facts about what we're facing financially, as Dr. Barker, you referenced a few minutes ago as well. It also includes those guiding principles that you all discussed at your work session before we would start to communicate with the organization and our staff about budget decisions that we'll have to make and getting their feedback as well, as I shared with you all in my weekly update too. So this is just for discussion this month, and then consideration. We'll take any feedback you all share with me tonight. We'll make adjustments and bring it back forward to you next month for adoption.
Any discussion? All right. We will move forward. I think this is a good plan to framework our budget decisions moving forward. Next up is the district-wide intruder detection audit report and findings. Dr. Rapp.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett, for all your support always.
All right.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. And for the month of January of 2024, we did receive several audits from the TA: Flowerman Elementary, Heritage Elementary, Lamar Middle School, Durham Middle School, Rockbrook Elementary, and Timber Creek Elementary. There were no findings in the month of January. And I'll take any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garrett. Next up is the action items part 2. Consider approval of Senate Bill 763. Ms. Bay.
Thank you, Madam President. So this was presented to you at the work session, the resolution in regards to Senate Bill 763, which was passed by the 88th legislature, requiring the board to take action by March 1st regarding school chaplains. And so, as was stated last meeting, we will be keeping our current policy that anyone is happy and we will accept them to volunteer within our district as long as they go through our volley program.
Thank you, Ms. Bay. Any discussion? All right. Do I have a motion? Dr. Barker.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the board approve the resolution permitting community members who meet requirements, including chaplains, to volunteer in accordance with board policy GKG local on district campuses as presented by administration.
Thank you, Dr. Barker. Do I have a second? Ms. Alkateb. All those in favor? That's unanimous, 7-0. Moving on, next on the agenda is to consider an order calling for a 2024 bond of trustees general election for single district place 1 and at large place 6. I will say this will be our first election with our new order, where we have now moved to 2 at large seats, with the remaining 5 seats being boundary adjusted geographically. Does anybody have anything? Ms. Sells. You can make the motion.
I move that the board approve the order calling for a Board of Trustees election to be held on Saturday, May 4th, 2024, to elect the single-member District 1 trustee and the at-large Place 6 trustee.
Do I have a second, Ms. Taylor? All those in favor? Vote carries 7-0. Next up is consider adoption of an order calling a bond election. Dr. Rapp.
Madam President, members of the board, we talked at the work session about the fact that bond funds provide funding for the school district to address maintenance, repair, and life cycle replacements. They provide money to address safety and security enhancements and upgrades, and the program areas of fine arts and athletics. We know that what we strive to do in our school district every day through our facilities is aligned with our 4 cornerstones and objectives, engaging our students and meeting their individual academic needs, ensuring that our facilities create safe and engaging environments for our students, managing our resources in a fiscally responsible way, and ultimately building one LISD, which is that connected culture of community engagement and purposeful communications that we strive to have. We know that as we've talked about the facilities assessment projects that were not approved in the November election, we've looked at those through the lens specifically of the cornerstone of student experience. And we've talked about that many of these facilities that were not approved in the November election are some of our largest classrooms, housing students from a variety of backgrounds. We talked to you all about, in our school district, we have 820 sports teams supported by our 350 coaches, and that we're providing opportunities outside of the basic curriculum to 13,000 students. And as we just heard tonight on the TAPER report, we know that student engagement through a variety of clubs, organizations, and extracurricular activities is critical to our high graduation rate, which far exceeds the state of Texas. The facilities assessment projects that are proposed to you in this bond order this evening would be broken apart into 3 propositions. Proposition A would be for the natatoriums, the East Side and the West Side Aquatic Center repairs and maintenance. That would be $16.25 million. Proposition B would be athletics and recreation facilities that would allow us to maintain and repair those projects that we've discussed with you in previous meetings, and that would be $65.58 million. And then stadiums would be Proposition C, and that's that $19.99 million. Here is what the overall high-level view of those projects that we've discussed look like. Your proposition for your East Side and West Side Aquatic Center, your type of projects that are in your athletics and recreation, your 20-year life cycle replacements. You've got boys track locker room, the Hebron High School field house, the Kilo softball, Hebron High School baseball and softball, tennis and track court resurfacing, all of those things that we've been talking about related to our facility needs, and bringing those back before our One Vision task force to get their feedback about these projects as well for our community. We know that we showed many pictures several months ago about these projects, and that we talked about things. For instance, at the Kilo softball field, our students who are in cleats walking through water that is being held in that space when it rains. And we talked about the potential termite damage that might exist in the Hebron High School fieldhouse and all of those things. And you looked extensively at those pictures as we've been talking about those projects. For the stadium proposition, we know that this is not new construction on stadiums. This is maintenance and renovation to our existing stadiums and track surfacing. We know that recently at Flower Mound High School, the home lights on the home side of the field went out. We know that the scoreboard did not work for the Colony during football season. And of course, we're in the middle of soccer season right now, and nighttime games, we know, our lights are part of those. So that all those projects were a part of what we discussed, and that's what's before you this evening in the order calling for the election.
Thank you, Dr. Rapp. Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Madam President. With respect to this proposed action, our 49,000 students in the district deserve the best investment that we can make in them. These propositions represent a minimum investment. These propositions are to maintain and repair, not to build anything new. I think that is important. These are real needs, and many of them, as Dr. Rapp mentioned, include safety concerns, and it is why I support this action.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Anybody else? Ms. Al-Katab?
I'm just going to share in exactly as Ms. Taylor stated, that we have a duty to provide everything that we possibly can to our students in LASD. I was at that Flower Mound High School soccer game when the field went dark, and our boys had to get off the field and a delay of game because our lights were not working. And so how embarrassing for the team that we were hosting to come in and see we couldn't keep the lights on. And this is just one of those examples. We've talked about getting our students the student experience and allowing them those opportunities. And this is just another way, and just reminding, this is to maintain and repair what we currently have. That's it. Maintain and repair what we currently have. We're not asking to build anything new. Just maintain it and repair it. So I do as well support this.
Dr. Bonner.
Thank you, Ms. Prosnick. These items are part and parcel of the culture of success that Lewisville ISD has had with regard to student academics, athletics, and fine arts. As my colleagues have pointed out, this is not new construction. This is refurbishment, renovation of what we currently possess, and it's incredibly important, an incredibly important part of the student experience. There was some discussion around working within our 13 municipalities on a possible bond issue, and that in and of itself is quite a challenge. And so I want the community to know that the district recognizes that and respects that, and that we're committed to continued communication around that, and also further discussion around how we can communicate as partners moving forward. And so we just appreciate your support in that.
Ms. Sells.
I just want to make note of the fact that in every bond call that we have had, I have made it a point to recognize those in our community who have helped us make this decision. We don't sit here as a force of 7. We sit here as a force of thousands and hundreds and close to 100, a little bit less, maybe 70 or so, that sat on our One Vision task force that helped us make this decision to bring this forward for a vote tonight. And I just want to say thank you to those community members. They were hands and eyes and ears for us. They were extra voice for us to hear from. And I just want to thank them. They put a lot of time and effort before the November bond, and for us to reach out and to call them back together and ask again for their time, and they were gracious. And I am thankful for that, and I just wanted to take note of that. Thank you.
Anybody else? I guess what I would like to say is that in LISD we like to provide a quality education, and these facilities are part of that quality education. Earlier tonight we celebrated naming a facility the Ronnie Gage Fieldhouse. That fieldhouse is on the list here, and it would, in my opinion, be unkind to name a facility that doesn't have a roof after someone as profoundly impactful in our community. We are obligated to take care of what we have, and that is what these bonds do. These bonds were on the November ballot. I think that I will tell you, we didn't do a good job educating, which is what we do here in this district, educating exactly what would be happening with those facilities. We plan to do a better job educating this go around. I have great faith in our community that came out and supported us with the Vader election, and I have great faith that our community supports public education, and they support students having the proper facilities that they need to get the quality education that we provide in LISD. And with that, I will move and ask if there is a motion. Ms. Lasan.
I move to adopt the order calling a bond election.
Is there a second? Ms. Sells. All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0. If there is no further business, this meeting is adjourned. The time is 8:22 p.m. Have a pleasant evening. everybody has to sign the election